Hi. Hello. Thanks for coming to my live stream. And hopefully this will be a vid on the YouTube after it's a live stream. I have already made videos like this and ones similar to this, but I thought I would just make a live stream about it because I haven't talked about it in a while, and I want to save people the trouble of, just scrolling through my videos endlessly. So today we're going to talk about my history of being in the trans cult, my experience with the trans cult, and just kind of what that looked like. I guess we can take questions at the end of this. So my experience with the trans cult, I'm going to say, started in 2004, which was quite a while ago, before a lot of today's current members were even born. Like, I was starting my experience with the trans cult starting in 2004 because that's when I met my friend who would later become a part of the trans cult. So I'm counting that. So she and I became fast friends, and she joined the cult a few years later. And then circa like 2005, 2006, she switched schools. So we were going to different schools, and but when she switched schools, she was an out lesbian, and I knew her as a lesbian. I knew that she was a lesbian. Um, so, I thought that was cool at the time. But then we still kept in touch while she was at the new school. And by the end of the year, she had become trans. And that is proof that it's social contagion. But keep in mind, like, at the time in 2005, 2006, like, I wasn't thinking that at all. I was not thinking that it was a cult. I was not thinking that it was harmful. I was not thinking, I didn't even know what social contagion was. I wasn't thinking any of those things. And I thought that uh, when I learned more about it, I thought that, transgenderism was this totally valid, totally legitimate problem that some people have, like, da da da. Um, and I really liked my friend. I really loved my friend, so I was like, I want to do whatever I can to support her. And if she wants me to support her as trans, like, great. So that happened. And we were still kind of friends, but then we both went off to college, and I just want to say that while I was in college, I did kind of try to join some activist groups because I thought that, it was gonna help. I thought that, I wanted to like make the world a better place or whatever the fuck. Um, I wanted to work towards helping people and work towards a better world. And so I joined, the college activist group or whatever. Um, and pretty quickly, I noticed a lot of misogyny. I noticed a lot of women erasure. And these assholes would be like preaching all about how they want to like save the earth and how it was like so important to rally and demonstrate for these environmental causes and that kind of thing, but they would smoke. Like all of them, a lot of them were really serious, like very addicted to nicotine. I was like, that's fucking disgusting. But anyway, so yeah, I was noticing that the erasure of women was really constant within that group. Like they were constantly saying things like just these like newspeak terms that were erasing women, and I didn't um I did start noticing that as time went on, but at the beginning I just thought it was normal, um because I had this experience with my friend, and I had likely had more experience with the trans cult um than any of these activist groups before them, because keep in mind, like, my friend started transitioning socially when she was like 16, maybe 17, and then she started actually medically transitioning at 18. So, like, I knew I knew what I was talking about, and I had personal experience with it, so I was like, yeah, okay. I'm here for the trans folks. I'm wanna, I was a trans trender, trans cult warrior, if you will, trans rights warrior. Um and that went on for a little while, but up until a few years into that, I actually made a friend, and my friend asked me some really extremely basic questions. And I realized I didn't have the answers, but I was also very relieved that I didn't have the answers, because I was like, oh my God, she knows where I'm coming from. Like, oh my God, she knows about the erasure of women within activism, right? So my friend basically talked me into a corner about transgenderism, and I was radical. She said, like, what is a woman? And I was like, well, it's a grown female. It's a woman. You can't become a woman if you're a man, and you can't become a man if you're a woman, etc. So yeah, that radicalized me. Um, so I was radical before, like, mentally. I was radical before I actually really like outed myself as a radical, before I was openly against the trans cult, before I openly condemned gender, that kind of thing. I was radical. Um, and something that happened that was significant was some girls I grew up with, who I went to school with, who I knew to be lesbian, right? Um, I just kind of looked them up on like social media or whatever. Actually, one of them was also starting to transition in high school, but that wasn't even the friend that I mentioned earlier. Both of these women who were lesbians had transed out, okay, before age 25. And I was like, wow, that is fucked. And it made me really sad. Um, I also haven't talked about this on camera that I recall. Um, I had a thing with this woman, who I met, and I really liked her. In the past, I kind of had a history of making women cheat on their boyfriends with me, but I'm not sorry. So I liked this one a lot, and she was really interesting to me, and we kind of tried to have a thing, but it got to the point where I could tell that she had some pretty significant confidence issues, and I was like, you know what, this is, and just let's just not continue this because I don't want to do it anymore. Um, and it was mutual, and we were okay with it. Um, but about a little over a year later, I looked her up, and lo and behold, she had also transed out. So we're looking at five, excuse me, that I knew personally who had transed out um, pretty quickly. And they had also transed out um, upon learning about transgenderism, upon being exposed to transgenderism, um, because it's social contagion. And this was really starting to worry me because I knew all these women who had transed out, and also that first friend I mentioned, she went to college and eventually she had this roommate, and also lo and behold, we're up to 6 women who ended up transitioning because her roommate saw her being trans and then also wanted to trans herself. Um, because it's social contagion. I don't know how many times I've fucking said that already in this video, but it is. The whole reason my friend transed was because she was exposed to other trans kids. Okay? She learned about it and then she wanted to do it herself. Anyway, yeah, that young woman I knew, I tried to like get with romantically. She transed out, and that upset me. Um, but so I actually was radical at this point, but I hadn't told anyone. Or I wasn't like out to my friends as a radical who I thought were my friends as a radical. And then my former friend actually called me, and it was the night before she had her elective double mastectomy. And I didn't say anything to her. I didn't want her to do it, but she didn't know I was radical. And I don't think it would have mattered if I had said anything because I think she would have just done it anyway. Um, but also within that time of me becoming radical, I kind of took a step back from our friendship and examined it a little bit further, and I realized like it was kind of one-sided. I was kind of doing the bulk of the effort in our friendship, and she wasn't doing as much. Not that I, hated her. Um, but I just didn't feel comfortable telling her what my real thoughts were when she was about to get her double mastectomy. And like I said, it wouldn't have mattered if I said don't do it because she'd already made up her mind, right, by that point. Um, so then I finally came out as a radical. Once I came out as a radical to my former friend who's trans, all hell kind of broke loose. Um, she turned on me, and then, she kind of stabbed me in the back to our other friends who weren't even really my friends at that point, but, she let everyone know that I was this dangerous turf. Um, when all I did to her was tell her that I was radical. I didn't say, like, I hate you because you're trans. I just said, hey, I think you should know that I'm radical. Yeah, and then all hell broke loose, honestly. And a lot of my friends excommunicated me, and that was really hard at the time. But you know, it's just age-old proof that our culture is entirely misogynistic, and any woman with a differing opinion from the, mainstream normie bullshit is going to be disliked. She's going to be cast out. She's going to be, considered a witch, right? So it wasn't really surprising, but at the time it did really hurt me. But anyway, I luckily found Terry Strange, and we became fast friends. and I really made it my life's work to um, stand up for women and girls. And that's kind of it. You can go back and watch this whole live stream, but that's, a brief history of what happened. Um, seeing firsthand all these women transition, really just helped me to understand how harmful of a practice it is. And it also showed me just how vulnerable a lot of those women were. I'm not going to get into it too much, but a lot of them had, either complex traumas in their background or, um, you know, cognitive differences. They weren't necessarily neurotypical. Um, that just really showed me that this is a predatory practice of transitioning women. The fact that my former friend was allowed to, officially go on medical hormones at age 18 says a lot. And they're allowed to transition even younger now. So I just want to highlight that fact that these are these are young women, and it's happening still today, that are being taken advantage of and that are being preyed upon by the medical industry. And just because it was a really popular internet fad of, smiting anyone who had said anything different doesn't mean that it's the right decision. Duh. I agree. It does need to be illegal ASAP. Okay, so I'm just gonna get on to advice for any young radicals or anyone hoping to champion the actual rights of women and girls, and that is you need to out yourself as a radical. And you need to be aware of the fact that you're going to receive hatred because this is a misogynistic culture. Um, so, but you need to woman up and do that anyway. Like, get the fuck over it. I'm sorry, not everyone's gonna like everything you say. It shouldn't come as a surprise because you should already know that outside of radicalism. Um, but if you stay silent, more women and girls are going to transition. You're contributing to more ignorance. You're contributing to medical malpractice. You're contributing to a lot of bad things by not speaking up and saying your opinion. Like, you can even point people to this video, be like, look, I watched this video. It changed my mind. I'm a real fucking person, I will add. Um, and also another thing is knowing what questions to ask people that will get them in a corner and get them questioning their beliefs. One being, can you define what a woman is without using stereotypes? That's the question. Can you define what a woman is without using stereotypes? They usually need a clue because people are really dumb. And that clue is you can't use the word you're defining in the definition. Go ahead. Tell me what a woman is without using stereotypes. I'll wait. You know? You can ask them why people need sex reassignment surgery if genitalia aren't gendered. I think that's about it. If y'all have any good questions, I will answer them. I just want to say that liberals don't help, they hinder, and if you keep your fucking mouth shut, you may as well be a liberal. So, do we have any questions? If not, I'm gonna go. Get those up. Questions? All of my woke activist friends dropped me after I came out as twins phobic. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. But that's because they weren't ever your real friends. What do your parents think about your views? They're into it. They're with me. Um, oh, Kitty left. Can we see the cat? I was just trying to get her. Danny. Okay, that was a good question. How can we break through to peak the woke? Good question. I think you should remind them that liberalism is racist. You should remind them that being pro prostitution is anti woman. And it's also extremely racist because more women of color are subject to be victims of prostitution. And also, I saw a meme that was like, if prostitution was empowering to women, then men would be against it. And they would. How do I pique the GCs who support the true trans allies and support? So, I don't know. I don't know how you do that. Send them this video. Is super straight a legitimate tactic? I don't think so. I think it's kind of stupid, but it's interesting that it's interesting that that term even had to be created because people needed to differentiate and say, "No, I'm not interested in women presenting people. I'm interested only in women, or I'm interested only in men, or I'm interested in only men or women. I'm not interested in people with a pretend gender." Um, do we have any more questions? Ghost, I think you should remind people that homosexual transsexuals want to transition because of the sexism they face. Like, you should ask them, so you want to live in a world where gay people feel pressured to physically change themselves in order to better fit in? Is that good? Yeah, that is literally Iran. Okay, I don't know if y'all have any more questions. Hi, Hermes. You guys, I want actual questions that are pertaining to liberalism and women and ending sexism, okay? I don't want off-topic questions. Trans thing is really only a footnote compared to all the other stuff of radical feminism, isn't it? I mean, yes, but at the moment, transgenderism is extremely popular and extremely accepted, and it's overly stimulated, and um it's being promoted. So it's this massive trend that radical feminists just so happen to be against, and that defines us because that's the easiest way to compartmentalize us within mainstream, which is really just shows how fucking dumb people are. Oh, Turf Island, lucky. How do you find women-centered space during lockdown? I don't. How can we help women get rid of their female socialization? Well, you can't really, because they're going to be socialized as females no matter what. But it's good to remind people that changing your last name to your husband's is sexist. It's good to remind people that there's no such thing as a girl's toy or a boy's toy. It's good to remind people to be more conscious about their parenting, and it's also good to remind people that that a lot of the things that women do are sexist and bad for us. Why do you think trans appeals so much to our time? Is it something in being hyper individualistic that does it? Um, well, we don't have any coming of age rituals really. Um, and I wish that we did, but because we have zero, I think a lot of people really cling on to the transgenderism thing, and they see that as a rite of passage as a ritual into like adulthood. That's why they always need to take pictures of themselves before and after surgery at the hospital. Um, and it's also sexism. Like it's a whole fucking goddamn like myriad of things that causes transgenderism, but a lot of sexism is also contributing. Thanks, NP. Do you think that men are socialized to be violent and oppressive, or is it biological? I think it's largely biological. I don't think it's necessarily like always going to happen, but yeah, I think it's mostly biological. And I wish that humans would behave a little bit more like chimps, which is um like if adult chimp groups, if a man is too violent, he gets excommunicated from the group and he can't come back. Bye. Okay. Do you think there's too much of a focus on transgender within radical feminism at the expense of focusing on a live-in? Yeah, I would say so. I would say that's a thing, but I don't know that I like fit in with radical feminism at this point in time. Um, I mean, the just be kind, BS women need to stop being nice and start being rude femme. Yes, with it. Do you think ignoring the truants could be a good strategy? I feel like men are constantly trying to distract us and we take the bait. Yeah. I think it's really important to just block troons at all times. Don't entertain them. That's what they want. They want to get a rise out of you because they're men. They want to pee in your territory because they're men. They want to, make noise at you because they're men. So we just need to block them and not even speak to them and not give them their rise. I don't know Jennifer Bilek. My friend said that when all these teenage troons grow up and they're permanently disfigured and sterilized, they will lead the charge against it anyway. I hope so. Have there been any studies between people who want to transition and their dissatisfaction with gender roles? Yeah, I think they're all about that. Do you think female separatism is the solution for women's safety? No, I don't actually. I don't think that at all. I think it would be nice. I think if women want to do it, they should. That'd be great. But that would require having a lot of land, and that would require having a lot of women, and that would require a lot of women doing that. And being realistic, a lot of women aren't going to do that. A lot of women aren't going to leave their sons. They're not going to leave their husbands. They're not going to leave their fathers, right? Um, but with that being said, women need to fucking stick up for themselves to the men in their lives. And they need to stop taking abuse and say stop. Um, are there any more questions? Do you think that personal bodyguards are going to be a sad fact of the future? No, just buy a gun. Like, that's your personal bodyguard. Do you believe there's a spiritual aspect to the patriarchy? I mean, yeah. Can you explicate, can you extrapolate a little bit more? What do you mean by that? Are you asking me if I think that religion has caused patriarchy, or are you asking me if like a higher power caused patriarchy? A lot of radical feminists don't like me. I'm religious and radfem. I'm religious and radical. So yes. Yeah, spiritual warfare used against women is super common, and that's a male thing that they want to do. And only a man would really, use any deity against a woman, and that's clearly because he doesn't have an actual connection with said deity. Because why would said deity use their power controlling him to harm women? That's not that's not godlike. Um, I just don't really have faith in radical circles personally. In my experience, I don't really have faith in them because they don't ever actually end up getting anything accomplished. And I'm super militant. I'm super serious. I'm super forthcoming with my beliefs all the time. And a lot of women don't like that, even ones who claim to be radical. Men created a male god because they were jealous of women's power to create life. Yes, they did. Do you agree that there are too many women who pretend to be radical just because they are against the trans cult? I mean, sure. Yes. Um, I think that a lot of women think that being radical just means being against the trans cult. There's more to it than that. Yeah, men say that all the time. You made me hurt you. Look what you're making me do. Yeah, men say that kind of thing because they're not smart. Well, looks like y'all aren't gonna ask any more questions. I can stay on a few more minutes. Ain't no thing. I don't understand your question. Just don't mind. You said, isn't masculinity and femininity useful ways to the letter? I don't know your question yet. I think you didn't complete it. I'm doing fine lately, Ghost. Thanks for asking. I've been playing cello. That's been fun. Well, thanks for coming, Miss Melancholy. You don't have to ask questions. It's okay. Um, yeah, and if you're gonna direct anyone to this video, you can just direct them to the first half because I mean they can watch this too, but the first half is what I meant to live stream about. Okay, isn't masculinity and femininity useful ways to express oneself in the world? No, that's no, it's not. Being feminine and wearing hop clothing and doing hop activities is not a good way to express yourself. And being masculine in a stereotypical manner is also not a good way to express yourself. Love the cello. That's great. Thank you. Are there really 31 people here? I just scrolled all the way up. Then I scrolled all the way down. We forget how to be people when we concentrate on labeling everything. So true. So true. You're not your label. You're a human being. My doggy's here. He's so cute. Did you just hear my back crack? I just cracked it. People use labels as a substitute for an actual personality. Yep. 1,000% true. They want to just use their labels and think that gets them through the door or something. I don't know. I don't care either. I don't like it when I go on Instagram and I see 4 fucking labels on someone's bio. I'm like, I'm sorry you don't know how to write about yourself. Okay, you've stated before that marriage is prostitution. What's different about non-legal hetero relationships? It's the same thing. No, it's not. If you're not married. I mean, marriage is kind of prostitution, but like marriage is derived from ownership of land. I think that women started being treated really poorly once land was privatized because then marriage became an agreement about land and men therefore used their daughters to better their land prospects. I do think marriage is prostitution, but at the same time, I don't think it ought to be. I don't think it should be. I don't think it has to be. And I understand that people are going to get married no matter what. So I'm not really mad about that. I do think that women shouldn't take if a woman's going to get married, she shouldn't take her man's last name. If she's going to get married, he should change his last name to hers because we need to make this we need to make this a matriarchal society. We need to make this a matrilineal society. We can't be making it patriarchal. It's dumb. Okay, I'm about to leave. If y'all don't have any more questions, last chance. Last chance. Do you think trans type obsessions dogma is a result of Nietzsche's death of God? Our invented religions in our science-informed era has its own and maybe worse problems. I agree. I'm not super familiar with that work you just mentioned. But I do think that the trans cult is in fact a religion. And I do think that people are craving some sort of spirituality, and that is why a lot of them end up turning to transgenderism. I don't know who Scott Nugent is. Should pronouns be abolished then? I mean, no, but isn't it kind of stupid to tell someone how to talk about you when you're not with them? Because that's when pronouns are used. The only time we use pronouns are when someone's not there. You don't say, if you're talking to me, interacting with me, you don't say she, her to me about me. You say that when I'm out of the room. So when someone's like, oh, my pronouns are this, they're just trying to control your life. They're just trying to control your language. They're trying to manipulate you. They're trying to like test you. And that's the easiest way they can do it to begin with. I don't actually know what hypergamy, hypergamy, what is that? Oh, you're welcome. I'm always game to speak up against vigorexia ghost. Trans has replaced the New Age as the religion of capitalism. Basically, is the tiff who almost died from phalloplasty, and now all the GCs are fawning over her and calling her hate. Wow. Why do you figure so many women are willing to self-mutilate with heals, treatments, etc.? I feel like it's an addiction for many TBH. It is. It's an addiction. Wanting needing to have a beautiful body is playing into the stereotype that women are only worthy of love or attention if they're beautiful in the conventional sense. So women are constantly striving for that. Women are constantly trying to find that. Women are physically hurting themselves in order to achieve that, and it's bad. After 50, you just care if you're healthy and can walk and see good. Well, Ikwe, I hope that more people who are younger start hoping that because they're not setting themselves up for that in their younger years. Yet men talk about wanting a hot girl constantly and will go cheat, so they are hypergamist, not women. They claim women go after looks and money only. What if we all used they pronouns instead of she and he pronouns? I don't really think that's necessary, and we also haven't tackled sexism. So, I don't really think that would work. That makes me think of how in college we were talking about this format. It was either APA or ALA, I forgot, but one of the formats was when you're citing an author, you only put the first initial of their first name and then their last name or something like that. You don't, it was that you only credited their last name and their first initial, not their first full name. But the thinking behind that was like, well, if you don't put down their full first name, then you can't be sexist towards them. And like, okay, that's true, but we shouldn't be being sexist towards people. Like that's not actually solving the problem, you know? What do you think of the masks? Well, they don't work. They're a security blanket. Um, do you believe in ex-rad femmes? I do because my mother was very feminist and gender nonconforming in her youth, but something happened and now she's full on hop. Um, I think that's kind of common. I think that women just want to conform really badly. I know what you're talking about. I haven't seen that something that extreme, but I do know what you're talking about, and I think it does happen to a certain degree. But I think it's just because they like give up and then they're like, okay, all I want to do is conform now. It's pretty sad. Pronouns are a very surface issue that has been exploded. Yes, it has. Okay. Do you think COVID is as bad as the government wants us to think? I'm not really sure what the government wants us to think because I don't watch mainstream news, but I do know that COVID has a 98% survival rate. So, and and in the United States, double the amount of men have died from COVID than the amount of women that have died from COVID. So, if people were being smart here, we would have men staying at home. I don't know what body neutrality is. What's body neutrality? Body neutrality? I've never heard that term. It's neither loving or hating your body, but valuing what it is able to do. Well, I don't think that's bad. I mean, I guess that's good. But I think people should like, at least like their bodies. If body neutrality is a step towards loving your body, then great. I am my body and my body is okay versus I'm beautiful and sexy no matter what. I mean, sounds good to me. I'm with free birth 1,000%. I'm not doing what I eat in a day. That shit is so obnoxious. Not doing it. Okay, I guess this ended up being a lot longer than I anticipated, but that's okay. Thanks everyone for coming. Make sure to share this video to anyone who you need to peak or just share my videos in general with anyone who you need to peek. Is this in the context of West society? In Africa, matriarchal society is rooted going back to ancient, and in ancient Africa, African women had more rights and power than anywhere else. Yeah, we should take a cue from Africa then, from ancient Africa. Bye, adios, amor. How can I explain to Western liberal people how much their activism is hurting LGBT rights in the rest of the world? Well, send them some videos about Iran. You can send them my videos and have them watch the first 15 minutes of this vid. Well, Ikwe, are you talking about what I just said about Africa? I was just referring to that comment, but yeah, indigenous women had a similar system, I think. And that would have that we 1,000% need to take cues from indigenous women as well. Can we make kink shaming great again? Yes. There what's MMIW? We're fighting off trans-identified men telling us we need to change our ceremonies? That's so fucked up. Why are men telling you need to change your ceremonies? That's not cool. Women's podcast just didn't work out. That's all. Tims want us to focus on getting prostitution legalized for them, and indigenous women are strongly abolitionist. Good. That's really fucked up that you just told me that, Ikwe. That's really messed up. I mean, it's good that you told me that, but I'm saying it's messed up that that's happening. No, there's no archive that I'm aware of. That's really scary. Anon Toto. Men need to not be up in women's business like that. That's not okay. And I don't know why other people aren't seeing that that's not okay. Like a man just fucking in women's business, like go away. Bye. Why is this person in here? When? Who did that? Why were they beaten by Tims? What the fuck? Can you get up? Can you get up? Get up, get up, get up. It's okay, it's okay, it's okay. Say hi. Okay, everyone. I don't know where everyone went. I cannot tell you. Well, Anantoto has now. They want us to open our ceremonies to any man who declares he's a woman in violation of the indigenous religious freedom laws. Wow. Can't you just can't you just do your ceremonies without them? Can't you just like convene with other women, make sure there are no Tims there, and then do your ceremonies without the Tims knowing? I mean, it's not fun to like tiptoe like that, and you should be able to do it freely, but it sounds like that's what you might have to do. Okay, everyone, I'm gonna go. Thanks so much for coming. I will live stream again soon. This was fun. All of you, please come again. This is very cool. Except for that one person who was saying bullshit. I'm not even gonna say their name, but there was a troll in here. Don't let the trolls get to you. Love y'all. Thanks for coming. Bye.